Good morning and happy hump day, traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. Well, I hope everyone had a great evening, ready for a wild day that includes the FOMC rate decision. Could have some volatility this afternoon, and of course we have some economic data this morning that could also create a little bit of volatility. So how about we get into it by taking a look at what happened overnight. First off, Asian markets traded kind of mixed last night. We saw Shanghai up pretty sharply, up 0.62%, Hong Kong up 0.83%. But at the same time, we saw Australia lower by 0.06. The Nikkei was down 0.72. India was down 0.56%. We had a little bit of an increase in South Korea. If we take a look at European markets this morning, they're green across the board this morning, getting a nice little rebound after the recent selling. DAX right now being up 0.29%, FTSE's up 0.11%, and the CAC is up 0.28%. We're also seeing U.S. futures rebound this morning in hopes of the rate cut. We've got Dow futures right now up 123 points. NASDAQ futures being up 1675, and that's S&P futures, and NASDAQ futures being up 5350. So quite a little bit of bouncing around here this morning, and of course we'll want to be keeping an eye on that as we progress toward the open. If we take a look at oil this morning, boy, oil has had a major sell-off with demand concerns, but we are seeing a bounce back up this morning, just a little tiny bit. Right now we've got oil futures up 42 cents at 70.07 a barrel this morning. We've got Brent futures up, or Brent prices up as well, to 73.66 a barrel. Natural gas this morning is also continuing a move to the upside. Natural gas had a big pop yesterday, really big push, and enjoying a little bit of follow through here, at least in the pre-market. So we'll keep an eye on that. This has been incredibly volatile. It'll be interesting to see if this can finally break out of some kind of downtrend or something in here and maybe get going. But right now, just been chopping around in this wedging pattern here on natural gas. Let's take a look at cryptos here this morning. Well, cryptos have had several really good days, but today is not one of them. Right now, Bitcoin being down $1,610 an ounce, or 1.51%. Ether is also down, following yesterday's selling, down $56 a coin, and we're pretty much red across the board in those cryptos. If we take a look at US dollar this morning, US dollar had a really good day yesterday, continuing to push on higher. Right now, nothing in here happening just yet, but what we can see is that the bond yields are not helping us out. The 2-year bonds are back up there at 4.25. We've got the 10-year bonds at 4.40 and the 30-year bonds at 4.60 as we wait on that FOMC rate decision. A little bit of uncertainty here, and we're seeing a little bit more in the conversation out there from folks that Fed's likely going to cut, but there's a lot of folks suggesting they shouldn't. So we'll see what happens. That would be a real surprise today if, for some reason, Jerome Powell decides to stand firm on those current rates. So keep a close eye on that. Precious metals this morning, well, we've got gold. As you can see, still struggling in here a bit, but it's not too bad at the moment, only down $1 an ounce. Silver this morning is trying to move a little bit lower as well, down about 8 cents at the moment. Copper, platinum, and palladium are all looking weaker as the dollar strengthens. So kind of keep an eye on those. So what does that mean for the day? Well, how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Wednesday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at some of these charts and see if we can figure out how we might want to approach the market for today. Remember, everyone, that we want to look at the charts for what they are, not for what we want them to be, and take a look at both sides of the potential. Well, there's actually three ways, up, down, or sideways. Let's take a look at the diamonds. Obviously, the diamonds has suffered quite a pullback. This is the biggest pullback, or the strongest pullback in the Dow since 1970. 8 straight days pulling back. But as you can see, it really wasn't a steep pullback. It really even wasn't a volatile pullback. It was just a slow, steady bleed to the downside. Now, the good news is we came in real close. We bounced off that 50-day moving average here in the chart. So keep a close eye on this. We were talking yesterday at the end of the day on right way options. I was really looking at the potential of a relief rally, and I think that's what we're looking at here this morning, is a bit of a relief rally. If we were to take a look at an intraday chart, one of the things I want to point out here on the intraday, although we're climbing up, remember, we've got to get up through here. We've got to get up into this gap, come up into that resistance area here, and then we can see about maybe attacking this downtrend to see if we can break through up there on that 15-minute chart. So some work yet to be done, though we are getting a little bit of bullish relief here. Now, if the bears were to find any inspiration today, maybe a retest of that yesterday's low, the 50-day moving average, and that possible pullback into here, I'm going to be looking in this chart for a filling of that gap, and then see if we can pop on out, and we'll start progressing back up through that chart, back up here toward this resistance area. And I'd be really careful here on this relief rally, because if we come up into here and show failure, I just drew a head and shoulders top there on the diamond. So watch that carefully as we move back up. Now, when we look at the SPY, there's nothing in here to worry about. The SPY right now, extremely bullish, and continuing to show lots of potential strength, as tech is still holding really, really strongly. So if you look right across here, nice little support area. That's a very bullish thing here. Although we have slipped past our trend, we just needed a little bit more rest. If we can get some bullish inspiration here today, really not difficult to see that we could, particularly with the data that we've got coming today, that we could push right on through here, new record highs in the SPY. And that's another reason why cut rates when markets are at new record highs and inflation has gone up in the CPI and the PPI. So kind of keep an eye on that. If Jerome Powell were to disappoint the market, that's where the biggest move of the day could occur. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying be prepared for that possibility. If we take a look right in here, if the bears were to find inspiration, well, we can see that support in here as well. And if the bears were to push on down for any reason, pushing down below this area would probably push us into this area of price support in the chart. Beyond that, I think some real fear might really start to creep up in the market. If we take a look at our QQQ, extremely bullish, continues to stretch and stretch and stretch here in the Qs as we pile into that very small group of tech giants. Keep an eye on this. If the bulls continue to find inspiration today, Heck, and every reason to believe new record highs are possible here in the QQQ. If the bears were to find inspiration, well, maybe we push back and we test yesterday's low, and then we start coming into this area where we could come down in here and start filling some of these gaps in here if the bears were to really start pushing. But there's no sign of that in the chart here at all. It's just all in bulls all the time, piling into big tech giants. If we take a look at IWM also suffering pretty heavily here the last couple of weeks. We did break a little bit of support. Remember, as we continue to see stocks in the tech sector suck all the money into them, although we're getting a relief rally in here, be really careful, because we're probably going to need to see the tech sector have a little bit of rotation out of it to really get the other indexes moving to the upside. So watch that carefully. As we start to rally back up, we'll look for resistance levels up in here. But once again, as we rally back toward this downtrend, we want to be watching for that possibility that we roll over. And again, there's a head and shoulders topping pattern there. If the bears find inspiration, well, pretty easy to see here. We would just push back down, retest yesterday's lows, and beyond that point, probably start pushing down into some of these areas of potential price support, heading toward this area of price support in the chart. Let's take a look at our VIX. Well, our VIX continued to push to the upside yesterday, so we have officially at this point created a lower high here in the VIX. We pushed up, held support in here, and then pushed on through to the upside, so we've created that lower high. Now it's going to be up to the data points here the rest of the week to see whether or not we're going to follow this through or if we get a pullback. Of course, right now, with the push that we're seeing this morning, we're likely to see this pull back. So as that pulls back, we'll want to be watching that pull back in here, some of these support areas in the chart for that resting pullback here in the market or relief rally in the indexes. Let's take a look at our T20s. Our T21-22 gave us the biggest indication the last couple of days that a relief rally should be on the way. We are in the bullish reversal zone, and you'll notice in here that we have a very big upside opportunity to relieve pressure in the market. We'll see if we can get that energy and that momentum of the market going, because we haven't seen a whole lot of momentum in the market. It's really been kind of a giant sucking sound. We're sucking money out of the diamonds, we're sucking money out of the Russell, and we're pushing it into the QQQ, into those tech giants, and that's not providing us with a lot of momentum in the overall market. So we'll want to watch that carefully. Now, if the bears were to find some inspiration today, we don't have very good opportunity here. So good chance of this relief rally holding, and then maybe we can extend it couple 3 days or more to the upside, depending on what these data points do to us as we move through the rest of this week. Let's take a look at our T2108. Clearly yesterday was a bearish day. T2108 falling hard, with 33.49% of the stocks holding above their 40-day moving average in the New York Stock Exchange. That means obviously the bears were in control and continuing to show that pressure here. But this morning with the relief rally, let's start looking for a bounce, and what we're going to be looking for is to see whether or not we can push back up there and get above 50% in this indicator. Notice we've got some resistance levels as we progress back through there, so watch that carefully. We need to get this back up here to maintain that confidence in the bulls. If we take a look at T2107, well, T2107 continued to sink yesterday. We came down here into an area of support. We're still above 50%, so holding in there pretty good, but the percentage of stocks above the 200-day obviously slipped a lot here in the last few trading sessions. So watch that carefully here. If the bulls continue with the bullish inspiration today, we'll push up in here. We'll start testing some of these resistance levels, maybe regaining some confidence in there for the bulls. This is the important one, I think. T2101, the absolute breadth of the market. Yesterday, as we were selling, the breadth of the market increased on that bearish wave. That can increase the confidence of the bears to continue to push, because we're seeing more energy going to that bearish side than we've seen in the bullish side here recently. So it's going to be really important today on this relief rally that we see breadth continue to push to the upside. If we see the breadth today move sideways to lower on this buy wave, that's really going to increase that bear's anticipation of the next push that they can have, that maybe they could break the backbone of the market. So watch that carefully. We need to see that bullish breadth coming in to really support the buy wave here in the market. Let's take a look at our economic calendar here for today. And clearly what I've been talking about all morning, well, we've got a lot going on here. First off, mortgage applications have already come in this morning, and we're getting declines in those mortgage applications, and no surprise, bond yields, rates have been going higher. So consumers pulling back on those mortgage applications. So you can kind of see that here this morning. We're going to get housing starts and permits, and right now they're expecting housing starts and permits to show increases. Keep a close eye on that one today. Current account numbers will be in. Huge deficit here of a negative 287,000 is what they're expecting. A big increase in the negative deficit here. Watch that carefully today. We've got Atlanta business inflation expectations, petroleum status, little bond auction, and then, of course, the big guy will be out, Uncle Jerome, talking about what they're going to do with interest rates. The interest rate announcement will be at 2 p.m. The Fed chair press conference, which will probably be more likely to create the volatility of the day, to see what the Fed members are thinking about future rate cuts. So watch that carefully this afternoon. As we move into Thursday, kind of keep in mind, Thursday morning before the bell, we're going to get the GDP report, so keep an eye on that. We've got jobless claims coming in as well. Philly Fed, that number might be a little bit off by seeing some of our manufacturing data this week. Corporate profits, existing home sales, natural gas report will be in there. Treasury Treasury International Capital, and the Fed balance sheet here at the end of the day, of course, with some bond auctions going on in there. Remember, we've got a quadruple witching coming up here on Friday, so we can see some funky price action in here. Kind of keep that in mind. Let's take a look at our earnings calendar here for today. In our earnings calendar, we got a little bit more going on today. To add to the volatility, we're going to have more earnings reports as well. So let me run through those really quick. We've got ABM reporting this morning. Looks like we got a little tiny bearishness going there this morning. BIRK will be reporting, looking pretty good. General Mills reporting, a little bearish there. JBL reporting today. Looks like we're getting a little tiny pop. And TTC, wow, gap down and push right back up here on TTC this morning on Toro, so watch that closely. Those are the notables for this morning. This afternoon, we've got some more notables, and I mean market moving type stocks. We've got Lennar that will be reporting, MLKN will be reporting, and then of course Micron could be the market mover of the day. Watch that carefully. Of course, anything in semiconductors and technology, it could put the zoomies right back in the NASDAQ. And if we take a look at SCS, that'll be this afternoon. Steelcase and WS will also be reporting. Interesting and getting a nice bounce here today, and that in the pre-market on WS. So how about we take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, well, click that subscribe button on YouTube. That helps the channel a lot. And also, if you find these videos to be useful to your trading day, if you could do me that favor and click that thumbs up button and leave a brief comment, that helps the channel to continue to grow. Thank you to everyone who does take the time to do that, and thank you to everyone who does share this video link out on your social media feed. That continues to help show this video to more people, and attracts more subscribers to support the channel. So thank you everyone for all of the kind support and all the kind words of encouragement on the channel. I truly appreciate it. Let's take a look at some of these stocks setting up. Remember everyone, these are not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence, be very, very careful in this market, and be thinking carefully about the data that we have coming today, because it does have that potential. No matter what you feel is going to happen, it could reverse everything really quickly. So plan your risk carefully. So first off, let's take a look at some of the airlines. AAL. AAL looking really good. Now, if I extend this trend up through here, you can see we may need a little bit more resting period in here. On that, we're trying to hold that big candle break in AAL. Watch carefully for that next opportunity in here. That's looking pretty good. If we look at JetBlue is also showing some nice bullishness in this chart, pushing up. Nice little resting consolidation in here. Bullish candle yesterday. Look for some potential follow through here on JetBlue. When we look at UAL is slipping its trend here just a little bit, but as you can see, still in a very bullish pattern. We just need that market to pick up some energy here, get a little breath going in here, and we might see that pick on up through the top side. So keep a close eye on that. If we were to take a look at BMY had a good day yesterday. Now this is one of the only drug makers that really is holding up quite well, and I'm not exactly sure why it is avoiding all of the hatred that we're seeing in the other drug makers. But watch this carefully here. Nice little pop yesterday. We've got some resistance in here to be thinking about, but if we're going to get a little bit of relief in some of these other drug makers, maybe BMY can push on through to the upside. And when I say maybe, when we take a look at Merck is trying to get something done here, trying to move up through this bottoming pattern in the chart. I'm going to take this and move this out to here now. If this is going to be the break point, then we'll want to watch that trend. But break through this resistance here, this big long resistance in the chart, there may be some opportunities coming in Merck. Moderna also trying to hold a bottoming pattern in here. So a few things that you might want to be paying attention to. Now J&J tried to get something going here yesterday with a big inside candle day, trying to push back up. Obviously it still has a lot of work to get going up through here, but we're seeing a really big area of price support in here. So for any of you option traders out there that might want to speculate a little bit on a bounce off of this big area of support, you might want to consider like bull put credit spreads, back ratio spreads, something like that, for that opportunity for that to push up and not have to take a lot of risk in gambling on that directional move. Let's take a look at a few others in here that are looking interesting. If we take a look at Uber had this major sell-off, and I'm looking for a little bit of a relief bounce, but I got to tell you here, guys, in Uber, I would be watching as we push back up. I would be watching this for the next potential short. I see that possibility we could push all the way up into there. See this kind of the double whammy of resistance of the downtrend, and see that opportunity that could push back. So there certainly are some bearish charts out there to be paying attention to. And speaking of bearish, let's take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia bouncing back strongly here this morning. We're going to attack this little trend that we've got right here in the pre-market open, but kind of keep in mind we're going to slam into that area right here where we could find some resistance in that chart. Now, I'm not saying it's going to stop it right there. There is that possibility that we could push right on through, right up into this area of price resistance and downtrend. But I would watch that carefully here as we rally back up. Be very, very careful because we are downtrending here in Nvidia. This may be nothing more than a relief rally to the next opportunity to find a short. You got to remember, we did break this big area of support in here. A lot of weakness has come into Nvidia here recently, so watch that closely. Let's take a look at a few other places here in the market. Take a look at some of the stocks in the defensive sector that are trying to come up out of bottoms. Coca-Cola finally holding a little bit of price support. This thing's been really beat down. We'll want to watch these closely because if we are starting to see a rotation into defensive sector stocks, that could be interesting here in the market. So watch that closely if that starts pushing in through to the upside, kind of slipping out from underneath that downtrend. Clearly we've got some resistance to deal with, but there is some bullishness in that chart. If we take a look at PayPal, now I will tell you that I've got a bias here on PayPal because I've been holding this for some time now. Got a beautiful profit in this, actually added to the trade here recently, and still looking very good. So watch that carefully. If we find bullishness in the market, we're going to need some of these pay systems. We're going to need the financial system to start pushing back to the upside. So watch that carefully here. If those bulls get going, we might push this right on through. Let's say the same for SQ, and just also want you guys to know that I have a bias on this because I've got a stupid profit in this at the moment and it's looking very good. So watch that carefully here on SQ as well. May see some of those upside moves. You've got Visa kind of stretching up and MasterCard all set up for an upside move here. Nice little pop through, nice little rest back to the trend. Bullish candle yesterday, bullishness in the market. I see that potential. We could push right on through here and get something going to the upside. So watch those carefully. In some of the retail, been remarkable how strong Walmart is. Walmart continuing to show that bullish pattern. I would watch that carefully for more potential upside here as well. And when you take a look at stocks like Lulu, very bullish pattern, popped on earnings, a little resting pullback, coming into some support here. Watch for that next opportunity if we get that bullish move happening in the market. So there's quite a few stocks for you to pay attention today. I could keep going on that for a very long time, but I don't have the luxury of that. I want to get this video out to everyone for the day. Hey, I want to give you all a little bit of heads up with the holiday coming. There's going to be a little bit of time where there may not be a daily video here. I've got family coming in and we'll be wanting to spend some time there. I will get a morning prep video out on Monday. I think I'll get one out. There will not be one, of course, on the holiday itself. And later on in the week there'll be more videos, so just kind of understand that there might be a little bit of hit and miss on those going into the holiday. If you're already thinking about taking the time off here at the end of the week and just saying, hey, I'm gonna take the whole week, I wouldn't blame you at all. Volume is likely going to be light and choppy. I want to wish you all, for anyone that's not going to be around and is going to be traveling early, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And thank you so much for the kind support of the channel this year. I really appreciate it. I wish you all of the best, and we'll see you back here after Christmas. But of course, I'll still be here through the end of the week, and we'll see how this market plays out with these big data points coming yet through the end of the week. Y'all take care, be safe, have a great one. I'll see you right back here bright and early tomorrow morning. I wish you all the best.